Good morning, dear students. Our grammar lesson today is the past perfect simple tense. Okay, let's start. The past perfect simple is formed by putting had plus PP. You know, had is the past form for have. So, he, she, I, they, we plus had plus past participle. Example, she had arrived early. They had arrived early. So, we put had plus with he or she or I or they. Only had plus PP. To form a question, I'll start by putting had. Had she arrived? Of course, arrived here is the PP form for arrive. Negation or the negative, she didn't arrive early. She hadn't arrived early. Had plus not plus the PP for arrived. Okay? The past perfect is used. In order to understand what does it mean by past perfect, you should understand before going through the points. The idea is that the past perfect referring to two actions, both of them happened already and finished in the past. But the idea of expressing the two actions, I should put the first action which happened and finished in the past perfect. Then it's followed by another one. The other one should be in the past simple. So this is simply or briefly the idea of the lesson. Two actions happened and finished in the past. That's why we call the tense past perfect. The previous one or the first one happened in the past perfect. I put it in the past perfect. And then the other one in the past simple. The first point, for an action which happened before another past action or before a stated time in the past. Before a stated time also in the past. The first example, she had already, this is the first action, decided what to cook. She had decided first when she went home. When she went home, she had already decided what to cook. She had already the previous action in the past perfect, the second action in the past simple. Okay, we put when here because in the middle of the sentence to refer that this action happened in the past, but we have another previous action happened also and finished in the past. She decided first, then she went home. She decided first, then she went home. Number B, she had already eaten dinner by 8. By 8 here, explain this point, which is before a stated time in the past. An action happened before a stated time in the past. So by 8 p.m. means before. By 8 p.m. means before 8. She had already eaten. I put already between had and the PP form of the verb as have and has for the present perfect. But this is the past perfect form. Okay? So, I want you to note that when I put already, I use when. When I put already between the helping verb and PP form of the verb, when I use already as a time expression for the past perfect, I usually put when to join the two sentences. Okay? The second point, for an action which finished in the past and whose results are visible also in the past. This is totally different from the present perfect. Present perfect started in the past and I see the result obviously now in the present time. This is not present at all. This is past. So the action happened in the past and the result also happened in the past. As you see, Bill had injured his legs. He had injured his legs in an accident. So he had to use a wheelchair for 6 months. This action is the first one. It happened. He had injured and that's why he had to use. Both action happened in the past. The previous one past perfect, the second one past simple. Number B, he was happy. Was also refers to the past action. He was happy. Why? He had signed an important contract. After he had signed the important contract, he was happy. This is the result. The result because after he signed the contract, what happened? He was happy. I didn't say he is happy because it's not a present, it's past one. All of this action happened and finished in the past. Okay? Time expressions with the past perfect. Time expressions are very important. The first one after, the second one as soon as, before, by, and by the time, until, and those are very important because already and just. You see, already and just are common between the present perfect and the past perfect, but you can differentiate By, as I said in the previous example, when I use already, had already arrived, I have to join the two sentences by using when, and of course you will find that the two actions happened in the past. Okay? Two actions. There should be two verbs in the sentence. This is the difference between present perfect and past perfect. Past perfect, we should have two actions. One of them happened and finished, followed by the other one, which also finished. After, as soon as, and because. I put the three ones here together because they do have the same rule. The same rule is that after, or after, as soon as, after, because, I should put the past perfect action, which happened and finished. And then followed by the second action, which is the past one. Okay, that's the form, past perfect, had plus PP. Let's see more examples. After she had done her homework, after she had done this, she visited me. After she had finished, she visited me. Both actions happened in the past, but as you see, this is the previous one, and that's the second one. First and second. Okay? The second example. She needed help. Why she needed help? Because someone had stolen her car. Someone had stolen first, then after this, what happened? She needed help. So because in the middle of the sentence, followed by the past perfect form, and the previous verb here is past. She needed, that's the result of what happened. Okay? She needed help because someone had stolen her car. As soon as the train had left, as soon as the train had left, this has happened first. The train had left. I arrived at the station. It means that I didn't catch the train because what happened? The train had left. Understood? So after, as soon as, after, because, there should be past perfect form. Now those two ones, before and by the time. Before should be followed by the second action, which is the past simple one. And the first action also should be in the past perfect. Let's see the example. They had sold everything. They had sold everything. Before what? Before what? You know the difference between after and before, of course. The most important thing, beside memorizing the rule, you should understand it well. And you should know how to put, or how to understand, or how to elicit which action happened first and which action happened the second one, which is the following action. You have to understand well. So they had sold everything before they moved to France. Now they moved. Not now, in the past, of course. They moved, okay? Before they moved, what happened? They had sold first, second. By the time John arrived at the party, by the time he arrived, the other children had eaten. This means that the children had eaten all the cakes first. Then what happened? Then John arrived. Of course, when he arrived, he didn't find anything to eat. So, by the time plus past, because plus past, before plus past, sorry. By the time John arrived at the party, the other children had eaten. So, before, by the time. Okay, this is until. Until. Have the same rule. The rule here differs from the previous ones. Because first of all, when I ask you to rewrite using until or till, it's preferable to put until in the middle of the sentence. Okay? And before until, there should be negative form. And of course, the verb is the past. The second action comes first. And then the first action. Second action here is in the past. Okay? As I said. As long as it's in the past and I want you to put it in the negative form, there should be didn't plus infinitive. Okay? They didn't eat their lunch. They didn't eat the lunch until what happened? Until their father had arrived. So, after, if I would like to explain it, after their father had arrived, okay, they ate their lunch. But what actually happened? They didn't eat. They kept waiting for their father until their father had arrived. Until their father had arrived first, then they had the lunch. But when I ask you to use until, there should be negation form, negative form before until. Okay? They didn't eat their lunch until their father had arrived. This has happened first, and then this is the second one. Already and just. As I said, she had already cooked dinner when? when I came home. This is how to differentiate between using already in the past perfect and using already in the present perfect. Present perfect, you will find only one verb, one sentence. I've already finished my homework. I've already done my homework. This is present perfect, okay? But here we do have two actions. So they had already cooked when I came home. The second point, or the second example, the party had just started by the time I arrived. By the time I arrived, when I arrived, I found that the party had just started. Had just started, okay? Just, already, had plus just plus the PP, by plus past. So when and by, and then you are allowed to use already or just, okay? Rewrite using the given word. This is the exercise to apply what we have explained. The first one, Kate started studying, then June left. She started studying, then June left. And I want you to use after. Remember the rule? After plus past perfect, then past simple. Let's see the answer. John left after Kate had started studying. He left after what had happened? After Kate had started studying. Okay? Number 2, I put on 10 kilos. I put on 10 kilos. Then I decided to go on a diet. Which action happened first? Of course, this happened first, and that's the second action. If you understand well from the sentence which happened first and which happened secondly, first and the second one, it will be easy for you to apply the rule. Rewrite using by the time. By the time should be followed by past simple. So let's read. You are allowed to put it at the beginning or in the middle. It's up to you. As long as you understand the rule, it will be very easy. By the time I decided to go on a diet, it means that when I decide to go on a diet, I have put on 10 kilos. Because this is the first action. I have put on 10 kilos. Then I decided. Okay? It's the same meaning. Then I decided. Or when. Okay? But here we use by the time. Number 3. Susie watered the plants, then she went out. She watered the plants, then. This is first, then plus the second one. Then she went out. Use until. Until should be in the middle of the sentence. Past form, negative past, until, then past perfect. Susie didn't go out. She didn't go out until she had watered. It means that she had watered first, then she went out. But instead of saying she went out, I have to use until. So there should be negative form. She didn't go out until what happened? Until she had watered the plant. Happened, then finished, followed by another action, also finished in the past. This is very important sentence. The match started, then they arrived at the stadium. Started, then they arrived. Rewrite using already. Here I want you to use already, and we have two verbs. This means that I'm going to apply past perfect, not present perfect. Okay? The answer? The match had already started. Had already started. When? There should be when. Okay? You have to put when. They arrived at the stadium. Okay? Number 5. Jason failed his driving test 3 times. He finally got the license. Of course, this has happened first. Every time he tried and failed. Then finally, he got his license. Rewrite using before. Of course, an action happened before another one. Which one happened first? Of course, he failed first. Okay? So, Jason had failed his driving test 3 times before. Finally, what happened? Before he finally got his license. So, before should be followed by past simple. Because this is the previous action. He had failed his driving test 3 times before he finally got his license. You got it? Okay. Number 6. She went to work. She had breakfast. Rewrite using as soon as. Here, it's not a must to start by this one or that one. It's up to you. Okay? Some people prefer to have breakfast then go to work, and other ones prefer to go to work and have breakfast over there in their workplace. It's up to you. So let's apply it. Let's apply the rule. She went to work. She went to work as soon as she had breakfast. I prefer it to be like this because we usually have breakfast, then we go work. So she had. Why I put had here? Had, this one is for the. This first had is for the form, had plus PP. The other one is the PP form for have. She had breakfast. The infinitive form is have. When I say I have breakfast or I had breakfast, it means that I ate my breakfast. So had breakfast. Okay? Number 7, Sam didn't study well. That's why he failed. He didn't study, and the result, he failed. Okay? Use because. Of course, also should be, it's better to be in the middle of the sentence. Sam failed. That's the result. The result should be in the past form. Because he hadn't studied well. This is what he did first. He hadn't studied, and the result, that he failed. Okay? Number 8, she slept after the film had ended. Use until. Till is the same as until in the middle of the sentence, okay? Followed by past perfect, and before it, past, but in the negative form. She didn't sleep. She didn't sleep. Till the film had ended. Okay? Till or until, the same meaning. Number 9, Susan tried on many dresses. She tried on many dresses means she put on many dresses, just to check. She decided to buy the green one. Finally, she decided to buy the green one. And then I ask you to use after. It's capitalized, so put it in the beginning of the answer. After what happened? After Susan had tried on many dresses, after she had tried on many dresses, she decided finally to buy the green one. Okay, number 10, they discussed the project before making a decision. Okay, before making a decision, we discussed first the project, then we make the decision. Rewrite using until. Until is the same as till. Negative in the past plus until, then the past perfect form. Okay, let's see. They didn't make a decision until what happened? Until they had discussed the project. They had discussed first, and then they make the decision. But because of until, I have to put negative form. They didn't make a decision until they had discussed the project. Okay, by this, our exercise is finished and the lesson 2. Thank you so much, and I hope you understand. See you soon.